The Church of Scientology today produced what it called
The Church of Scientology wasn't a religion.
Discovered its connection to Scientology.
It is a very difficult thing to reduce Scientology to a soundbite.
Man is a spiritual being. He is not a piece of flesh.
I'm part of a frontier in a way. It's a multi-level marketing scam.
We want a clear planet.
They've left me to die. What we have in Scientology is the answer.
December 14th, 1998, this is Investigative Reports.
Hello, I'm Bill Curtis. It is America's most controversial religion. Some, in fact, say it's not a religion at all. For 40 years, the Church of Scientology has flourished in this country, while under constant attack from the government, the media, and the psychiatric profession. It's been perceived as an organization interested only in money-making, which brainwashes its members and then bankrupts them. All untrue, say its leaders. And its many high-profile believers, including John Travolta, have drawn hundreds of thousands to its cause. In this edition of Investigative Reports, a rare in-depth look into a group that says it is paying the price for its revolutionary ideas.
Scientology is one of the fastest-growing new religions in the 20th century. Its impressive edifices and glittering parishioners have put the 48-year-old organization on the map of global emerging philosophies.
You name me another philosophy, religion, or technology where joy is the operative concept.
In this community where you learn that you want to be part of all kinds of other communities and help the rest of the world.
It brings a lot of goodwill. It influences wonderful things out of people. It helps people.
So I think that's pretty spectacular. I think everybody should see this.
Scientology provokes emotion. Hollywood celebrities are often seen raving about the religion they say has changed their life. Through a series of complicated self-help courses and a confessional process known as auditing, Scientologists strive to rid themselves of negative past life memories and reach a state of clear.
It was just like someone had removed the gauze around my head, you know, and I could think, and everything was really crisp and clear, and it was just really great.
But despite the positive testimonials, many assume that the church is an evil and dangerous cult.
I said, but Scientology, I heard y'all a cult. I heard you were a cult. I heard y'all take folks' money. Y'all brainwash people. I mean, I just said what was on my mind, you know.
Why the deeply rooted suspicion of Scientology? The church has often been linked to conflict, most recently when longtime Scientologist Lisa McPherson died after convalescing for 17 days in a Scientology-owned hotel. Her family believes her death was unnecessary and the fault of Scientologists who refused to take her for medical care. After a 2-year investigation, Florida prosecutors have filed charges of abuse and neglect of McPherson, the first criminal accusations brought against the U.S. Church in over 20 years. Scientology vehemently denies responsibility for the ugly death and faults a scandal-hungry media for savagely transforming a personal tragedy into exploitive headlines. The organization says negative impressions about the church are the result of a 40-year-old assault by world governments, psychiatry, and the media, all part of an establishment threatened by a breakthrough faith.
It's just a classic case of, you know, you've got to have sensationalism, and I think it's why the public are fed up with the media today, is that they've finally seen, as we have, that it's never ending, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You say it's that way, and then you make it that way so you can run the story.
We're talking about attacks from multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates, governments, world governments, real powers of the world. The fact that Scientology has continued to expand and is in the position it is today, in the face of those attacks, well, that says there really must be something to this subject.
Amidst the flurry of tales, it's difficult to decipher the truth. To really understand Scientology, it's necessary to go back in time to the genesis of the religion and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. Lafayette Ronald Hubbard was born in 1911 in Tilden, Nebraska. An adventuresome spirit, Hubbard made trips to Guam and China as a teenager, described romantically in his teenage diaries.
You're talking about a young L. Ron Hubbard. You're talking about someone who shot sharks, who scaled erupting volcanoes, who explored the jungles of Asia. I mean, you're talking about Indiana Jones, but for real.
He did some small thing and that just blew up in his own mind. He had a very dangerous imagination. Even when he was 19, he was starting to inhabit a fantasy world.
That fantasy would be put to use in the 1930s, when Hubbard dropped out of college and began to write for a living. Unusually prolific, Hubbard moved to New York and became a popular writer of adventure and science fiction stories. But those who knew him recalled that Hubbard had other ambitions.
I knew Ron Hubbard before he ever started Scientology. I was in a writing group with him in Greenwich Village. And he kept saying that, you know, the only way to make any money, you can't do it with pulp writing. You start a religion. And nobody took him very seriously.